Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a look into northern India, specifically at Haryana. Our source material paints this picture of it, saying it's where warriors are born, where farming thrives, and where history and progress walk hand in hand. Quite a description.
It really is. It sets up this idea of a place with many layers.
Exactly. So our mission today is to kind of unpack that, see what makes Haryana so significant, beyond just being a name on the map.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Geography, maybe?
Yeah, good idea. So northern India, we know its capital is Chandigarh, which interestingly it shares with Punjab.
Right, and the document lists some major cities. Gurugram jumps out immediately, doesn't it? That big IT and business hub.
Definitely. Skyscrapers, big companies, a very modern face.
But then you also have cities like Faridabad, Panipat, Hisar, Karnal, Rohtak, each with its own significance historically or economically. It's quite a mix.
It really shows that multifaceted development the source mentions. Now let's switch gears a bit. Agriculture. The document calls Haryana a green revolution hero.
And the land of farmers. That title really emphasizes its core role in, feeding India. Its contribution to food security is massive.
It's foundational, really.
Absolutely.
But then, almost on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have this incredible sports prowess.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Producing Olympians like Neeraj Chopra, Bajrang Punia, Sakshi Malik. These are household names.
Huge names. And it seems like wrestling, boxing, kabaddi are particularly strong there. There's clearly a culture that supports sports.
There must be. And did you see that statistic?
The one about the Olympic medals?
Yeah.
Nearly 70% of Olympic medals won by India often have a Haryana connection. That's kind of staggering.
It really makes you wonder what they're doing right. What's the secret sauce there?
Definitely something special going on. Okay, let's look back. History.
Kurukshetra, that's the big one mentioned.
Yeah.
The site of the Mahabharata War.
And where the Bhagavad Gita's teachings originated. I mean, that's profound. It connects Haryana to the very bedrock of Indian history and philosophy.
It gives the region immense historical weight. It's not just land, it's sacred ground in many ways.
Right. Now, jumping back to the present, this rapid urbanization. Gurugram again.
Yes, the document calls it a leading IT and business hub. You picture the skyscrapers, the malls, the startups. It's a very different vibe from the land of farmers.
Total contrast. And it's not just Gurugram.
No, it mentions the Kundli-Manasar Palwal Expressway, the KMP Expressway. That seems to be driving industrial growth.
And smart city development, too, in places like Karnal and Faridabad. So there's a plan, a strategy for modernization.
It seems very deliberate, yeah. Building on those agricultural roots, but also looking firmly towards, a high-tech future.
Okay, let's briefly touch on culture. The source mentions Haryanvi, which is a dialect, alongside Hindi.
And folk dances like Gumar and Damal, festivals too, Tej, Holi, Diwali, Baisakhi. Gives you a little flavor of the traditions.
And the food. Bajra ki roti, lassi, churma. It sounds pretty hearty.
Adds that sensory detail, doesn't it? It helps paint a fuller picture.
Then there's this economic point that really stood out to me.
Which one was that?
First, in per capita income among major states. That's a significant achievement.
It really is. It suggests that this mix of agriculture, industry, and services is, working quite effectively in terms of generating wealth. High productivity across the board, likely.
Makes sense. And finally, it loops back almost to the beginning. The document highlights a strong military tradition.
Yeah, a large representation in the Indian Army. It connects back to that land where warriors are born idea from the introduction.
It really does. So you pull all these threads together. The farming backbone, the sports champions, the deep history, the modern cities, the economic strength, the military service.
It's a complex and dynamic identity, isn't it? Ancient roots meeting rapid modernization, agricultural heartland meets tech hub.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's far more intricate than you might initially think.
What strikes me is how these different facets seem to coexist and maybe even reinforce each other in some ways.
That's a great point, which leads to a final thought, really. Well, you have this strong base in agriculture, which is vital, right? And then you have this booming tech and business sector. How will Haryana leverage these, quite diverse strengths going forward? What kind of impact will that have, not just on India, but maybe even globally?
That's the big question, isn't it? How does this unique blend shape its future path? Definitely something to think about.
Indeed. Well, that's our deep dive into Haryana for today. Thanks for exploring it with us.